Good morning or good evening, good friends of the channel. Welcome back to another episode of this crazy show that we have here. It's not that crazy, I know. I've got a cool episode for you today. Today, we're going to focus on something called Linux. I know, wow, crazy is going on about Linux again. But I figured this would be a good video to test Linux, right? A good way to see how it works in a professional world. I'm going to be going through a process of doing my actual day job on Linux. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a graphic designer. I mainly work in the marketing field, so I make banners for like the website. I make banners for printing. I make all sorts of different graphics, videos, all sorts of stuff like that. And I primarily use, 100% of the time I use Photoshop. And Photoshop is obviously the devil and everyone hates Photoshop, but we can't deny that it is the best software. It is. You can't beat it. You can't beat any Adobe software. There's nothing quite like it. And whatever you say, no, it's just the way it is. The whole Adobe suite grants you the ability to create the most professional stuff out there. There's nothing that compares to it. Obviously, you got DaVinci and all that stuff, which is fantastic in its own way, and it's great software, but even Affinity Photo doesn't really compare to Photoshop. Plus, it's what I'm used to. So this is going to be a challenge, because today, my friends, I'm going to be recording myself going over to a good old software called GIMP. You may have heard of this stuff. GIMP is a fantastic tool. It's free and open source software. You can use it right now on any machine that you have, Windows, Mac, or Linux. It's completely free to use. And for those of you who don't know or who have been familiar with the GIMP interface and everything, they had a major update recently, 3.0. Amazing update. This has actually made it more of a competitor to Photoshop, if you would ask me. Now, the reason why it's a competitor now, because things work the way they should do, especially with the layers. Beforehand, the layers would be a bit iffy and it wouldn't be easy to maneuver. But at the moment, GIMP still has its quirks, which I'm going to be obviously going over in this video. But first of all, I'm going to show you guys, if we just go over to my desktop, I've prepared a little presentation for you here. This is 3 examples of banners that I've made at my job. These are banners that go on a website. This is what we're going to be trying to recreate with something different, obviously, not with these products that we have here. But these were like a Christmas show thing, and we were making banners to basically display different products for people to have a look at. And this is how we would promote stuff on the website. These are specifically 682 pixels by 400 pixels. We're going to be making the exact same thing, but for a Timex watch that I found online. I basically just went on a watch website and I downloaded their images, and we're going to be trying to make a banner like this on GIMP. So let's get straight to it. So if you have a look here, we're going to be greeted with this welcome to GIMP screen, which is a new thing. And I'm going to be making a 628 or 82 by 400. Advanced options, I'm going to have to go in and have a look over here. Because what I want to do, first of all, oh god, okay, I've already clicked a bunch of stuff. I want to make this RGB, which I don't know if they have an option for this stuff here. I think this is what we do, 72 by 72. Yep, that's what it is, 72 ppi. If you don't know, that's what you use for banners online and stuff like that. Color space, RGB color, fantastic. Okay, so we are actually able to do that on here, which is great to know. I know that before, GIMP has had some issues with color spaces and stuff, but I believe that's for CMYK, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. Obviously, we have a blank canvas here. What I'm going to do is quickly grab the images which I downloaded. So we have this Timex Glow, which I was thinking we could use in the background, and these two, which I'm going to try and use as the hero images. So let's see how that goes. We'll drag this one in first, and the first, we can kind of make this fit. If this goes too quickly, then I'll probably end up making another banner, but I'm already liking this as a whole. Now, for our website, what we do is important that this area here is cut off, if we have a look, because that transitions into another part of the banner. I do like the way this is looking already, but what I'm going to have to do is cut out. Now the cool thing in Photoshop is their AI tools, which allow me to cut out the background very quickly. I have it bound to Shift-Control-B and it will instantly select the item that's in the foreground. Now, I don't think that's a feature in GIMP, unfortunately. So what we're gonna have to do is literally grab ourselves the paths tool over here, which is basically the pen tool, and I'm gonna have to here. Now bear in mind the whole AI thing was actually a fairly new addition, so until then I was pretty much doing this on Photoshop as well, just because I needed the accuracy of this to work properly. GIMP has its own little system here. If you have a look, to get like sharper corners after making a curve, you have to grab one of these and then just kind of align it to where you're going to go, which is actually a fairly decent way of doing it. Photoshop had an annoying thing where you had to grab a shortcut or something and do that. But with here, you can just adjust it on the fly. So I've drawn around it here, and I believe now I can make a selection from this path. And then how do I make a mask? Oh, there we go. Add mask. No, okay. Add mask from selection or something like that. Selection, there we go. Add that, and fantastic. If we can inverse it, does it have that feature? Oh God, inverse? Is there a way to invert this? God, no, can you not? Okay, you can't invert it. I think what I have to do is first invert the selection, then go over here and then here. There we go. Probably not going to look very professional here, but yeah, okay, it's cut out. That's the most important thing. So when it comes to GIMP, in terms of my experience with it, all I've been doing is recently making thumbnails for my YouTube channel on here. So that's all the experience I have with GIMP. I haven't really used it before that much. I know it to know the basics of like the commands and stuff. It's a really huge jump coming from Photoshop to here because all of the shortcuts are very non-intuitive when it comes to this like system, but that's only because I'm used to the Photoshop one. So it is quite obvious that if you want the move tool, you press M, you get the move tool, or the path tool, I think it's P as well for that. But with Photoshop, if you wanted the move tool, I believe it was something else. I think it was like A because you select your normal cursor or something. So it's just a bit different coming from Photoshop. But overall, they have improved this a lot recently with the 3.0 update, and it's made it a little bit more like home. So it's good to check that out. Right, so we've got to cut out. Most important job is done. What I'm going to try and do now is get the background to a good color. What I usually do when I'm making a banner is I will grab a color picker and I'll find a nice color for the background here. Something like dark like this will probably work. You can usually find a good color for your composition from the image you're using. So I'm going to go with that. And I think there's a bucket tool here. There we go. That's nice. It's okay at the moment. Next, I think I'm going to put a gradient under it just to kind of add like a shadow effect to it. So I'm going to make a new layer. So what I'll get is a foreground to background, and we'll go with pure black or just before pure black. That usually looks a little bit better. And then we'll make a gradient, which for some reason isn't very smooth. There's like a line there, but I'll do this. Maybe that'll work out a little bit better. So we're just going to get a hint of the other color here. I don't like that. It's not smooth. It's just like a line. And then another important thing, very important thing, is what I apply as an effect to the layer. And I have no idea how to do that in here. We have filters. Is it filters? Oh, okay. There we go. We got inner glow. That didn't work. Wow, that's terrible. Let's see. Random guess over here. Let's see if I can apply it to this instead. But this being the mask, that is. Actually, no, this should work. I'm gonna grab a new layer, okay, and copy this, put it on here. Can I do that? Come on. I've accidentally duplicated the image 3 times. Apparently that's not going to work. So I'm going to try something else. I'm going to grab a brush tool with a very soft edge. Hardness pretty much 0. Okay, there. And I'm going to make sure if that's even an option here. Opacity, okay, that's like 10. And what I'm going to do is slightly brush around the corner here. Add a little bit more opacity to this, just so it's actually doing something. I'm kind of going to go around the edge and soften it out a little bit, just to blend the background in with this image over here, just so it looks a little bit more natural. And another new layer with another gradient, because we love gradients. Just a tiny bit over here to blend it a little bit further down. Now for the special effect that I wanted to do with this. Oh God. Transform, which is the worst part of this software by far. I hate the transform tool. It just doesn't work the way you want it to most of the time. Pop that here, and we're going to throw that underneath and see if we can change this to multiply. Can we do multiply? No, maybe screen. I think screen is a good one. I just want to give it a hint of the fact that this has the glow in the light thing going on. So I want to move this around a little bit, and also the move tool sucks a little bit. But I'm going to apply a full opacity mask, which I'm then going to gradient out a little bit. The gradient tool, if you are doing stuff like this, is your best friend. You want to smooth things out. You want to kind of blend them in together. My hope is to one day become kind of like one of those old artists for advertisements that used to use what's it called, airbrushes, to make that like dreamy smooth effect. That's kind of what I'm going for. But as you can see, we're kind of just removing this as we go. It would be lovely to get the Timex logo here, which is something I forgot to add. So let me quickly find that. Timex logo. Now this might suck. This might really suck. I've just remembered. Now, here's the issue. On Photoshop, I can easily grab this Timex logo and I can convert it to white. I have no idea how to do that here. If that's even a possibility. I'm gonna actually search this up. Yes. So apparently I can click on colors and do colorize. There we go. Oh, okay, so we can do it. We can do it. Fantastic. We've got the Timex logo, and this is probably not going to be my best work to date, but you know, I'm really trying here. This, it does, whenever you do a project like this, it does tend to make, like, using software that you're not familiar with, it makes everything so much more difficult. Is there a possibility to align layers in this? That's another good question. This is another thing I have to kind of sort out. Snapping to what? what are we snapping to here? Oh, no. Snap to guides, that would be a good one. Not snap to grid. Can we do a middle guide? Is that a possibility here? It doesn't have a locking thing here like Photoshop does. That's a very useful thing. Okay, bounding boxes. Okay, this might be it. I think that looks more or less like the center. A good trick I know is to use your fingers kind of as guides whenever you're trying to do something. So put them on your screen. If you use like a 2-finger guide, you can put it between things and you can kind of measure things out. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do here. So there's about 3 on each side. Yeah, so that I would call that logo being in the middle. So a bit of a mess, to be honest. It's a bit of a different approach to a banner, but I mean, it looks pretty damn good if you ask me. It doesn't look terrible. I'll actually show you a good way to save stuff real quick. I think that'll be better for you. So what I would do is Timex, because that's the company, _ 682 by 400, which is the size of the banner. I can throw in a name, so it's a banner. I'll do that, and then 01, because that's what we're doing here. And that's being exported. Lovely. Exporting it as a JPEG is important because this is going online. You don't want this picture to be big. And I'm going to do about 70%. Or 70 of the quality, because that's usually what you need, and then export that. So let's have a look at how it came out. So here is the banner in its glory, in its fantastic look. I'm not too disappointed with this. I'm actually quite happy with the way this came out. There is a couple issues which I would have to work out as I'm doing it. As you can see, there's like some squares here which wouldn't really work well because that's really going to show on the website and stuff. And here they are side by side. So this is the GIMP attempt, and this is the one I would do on Photoshop. Now, it's obviously a different style of banner, it's a little bit different, but I was able to kind of get that little bit of a professional look. And granted, this may not be my best banner to date, but it does have that look to it. It doesn't look too bad. And to be honest, I'm quite happy with where this has come out. But hear me out, okay? This doesn't compare to Photoshop at all. Everything in Photoshop that's there is just so much easier to do. Probably I'm saying that because I'm used to it. If I grew up using GIMP all the time, I would probably be saying it the other way around. But I do have to say that there is just a couple of things that make things harder. So that colorized thing, I already saw, it wasn't just a color overlay. So like on Photoshop, you can just select what color you want. This, you have to play with the hue, saturation, and the lightness of it. That always makes things more difficult and less repeatable, which is an important thing in the professional field. With that being said, can I attest to the fact that you can make professional work on here? Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I haven't tried making a printable thing, which is quite important. Don't bear that in mind. I'm not sure how it works with printing yet, but so far I've been able to get the same result pretty much out the box with GIMP. So technically, if you're a professional graphic designer, if I went to work tomorrow and decided to use GIMP, I could do it. I could absolutely do it, but it would slow me down a lot. You have to understand what is important to you in this case. Is it important that this is quick and easy and you're able to put out a lot of work, which usually in a business, yes, that's the most important thing. That's the reason why they invest in software like this. I think we got a decent outcome here, lads. Like, to be honest, I think this went decently. I'm quite happy with how GIMP went. I can easily use this software to make thumbnails and things that I need to. However, in the next attempt, I will be using a different software, another popular one, which is kind of a Photoshop clone, but it's more of a painting tool. It's called Critter, and most of you probably heard of it. It's a very good free software for drawing, but I want to see if it works just as good as Photoshop, if I could use it to make something like this. So until that episode, I hope you were able to enjoy this one. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you're able to see that if you are a graphic designer, you could go around and you could use GIMP as a professional. And I've also seen some posts online of people saying they've been a full-time professional graphic designer only using GIMP and Linux. So you can do it. Question is whether you want to do it. That's completely up to you. I would much prefer to use professional software like Photoshop, but it does cost a lot and the company's evil, so you can make your choice there, whether that's important to you or not. But with that, I really appreciate you checking out this video. I'm really happy that you were here to explore this with me. I'm actually quite happy with how it worked out. And until the next episode, I will see you then. Take care of yourself and have a good day.